Hey guys, so I got some feedback on the call part one video, and I'm very grateful for that feedback because there's something I had forgotten to highlight in that video. Yes, and yeah, I was happy to get that feedback. So thank you so much for highlighting that. Um, yeah, so what I it was actually came in form of a question. And the question was, does it mean that after you've experienced true salvation, you no longer suffer with sin? And the answer is no, that's not the case. The key thing, again, that I was trying to highlight in that video is you need to get to a point where you agree with God that sin is sin. Yeah. So the struggle might remain there, like Paul was talking about in Romans 7. Yes. And in Romans 8, he continues to elaborate that you need to keep growing to the point whereby now you are being controlled by the Spirit and not the sin. So in Romans 7, he explains how there's that struggle with sin, but then you are not agreeing with the sin, you are agreeing with God that it is sin, right? He first talks about the law in verse 7, going all the way down, yeah, I think to 14. He talks about how God placed the law to highlight to man what he calls sin. But then he talks about how when man now got to know that, oh, so the law is saying this is sin, okay, then suddenly the desire to sin or to disobey that law comes in. Yeah. And so that's why Paul was talking about that war where he's saying, I don't want to do this thing because I agree with God that it is sin. And yet I end up doing it. So what I don't want to do, I end up doing it. Right. But again, key thing that I was trying to highlight in the other video, you actually agree with God that that thing is sin. And you recognize that you're a sinner, and so you need his deliverance because only Jesus can take you out of that. So many people, Christians, even believers, struggle with addiction. But the thing is, do you see that addiction as something wrong? Or are you still taking pleasure in that addiction? Yeah, because if you're still taking pleasure in that addiction, then you don't see it as a sin. I mentioned that in the Garden of Eden, the devil tempted Eve, and Eve looked at the tree and she said that it was good to eat. Yeah. So when she said that, she agreed with the enemy that sin was good, right? But when she turned around and, like, I mean, she didn't get to do that. She sinned, and that's how sin comes into the world. Yes. But when we are being saved, when we are coming to the Lord Jesus Christ, see that sin as something that grieves the Lord, and you agree with the Lord that, Lord, I agree with you, this is sin. Help me through this. Then, yes, you are on your journey of sanctification, right? Like you are being sanctified. And that's another thing we're going to talk about in detail. Yeah, like in the other parts. But I just wanted to highlight that part there. Is it possible for somebody who has been truly saved to suffer with sin and addiction? Yes. Read Romans chapter 7 and 8, right? There's a very good description about that. Paul talks about it and he explains it in detail. I hope that clears it. And yep, see you guys in part two. I already recorded all of them, like all the videos. So I just need to like edit and share. And now I'm glad that there's some time, like I took some time in between before sharing so that I get like feedback in case anybody has questions. Please, if you have questions, please ask. I am like open and willing to like clarify, or if I say something that doesn't make sense to you, or if I say something that seems a bit off, please do ask in the comments. It's really helpful because it helps other people as well. So please do ask. So stay blessed, guys. Bye.